In the third year of my marriage to Brad, I found the proof I'd been dreading. It was in the form of Priscila lounging on my sofa, wearing my new unworn lace chemise. I stood frozen in the hallway, my suitcase a heavy weight at my side. The shower was running, Brad was home. Priscilla just offered a sly, unapologetic smile. Maddie, it took me a moment to find my voice, dry and brittle. It seems you're wearing my lingerie, she shrugged, standing to showcase her voluptuous frame, a direct contrast to my ballerina's thinness, but it fits me better. You're a bit too thin to fill it out. This was the culmination of 3 months of whispers and late nights. Brad's indiscretions weren't new, but they'd always been discreet, fleeting. Priscilla, a bold woman raised abroad, was different. He was invested. Brad emerged from the steam, a towel around his waist. A flicker of surprise, then a mask of composure. Maddie, why didn't you call before coming back? He approached, his voice softening into a practiced apology. I'm sorry. I'll send her away immediately. I pushed past him. I'm going to shower. I'm tired. Later, as I finished my skincare routine, Brad returned alone. He sat beside me, the love marks on his neck like a brand of his betrayal. Priscilla doesn't seem single, I remarked, my voice flat. Perhaps you should be more discreet. To my shock, he laughed. He grabbed my shoulder, his grip firm. Maddie, if a marriage stagnates, problems are inevitable. We can't get divorced, so a little stimulation is necessary to give it life. He looked at me in the mirror, and I saw the boy I'd known since childhood, now a stranger. Priscilla's fiancé is a great guy, Jonathan, the type you like. Similar to your favorite actors. He kissed my cheek. Let's all meet as friends. If you feel a connection, we can take it further. What do you think? The audacity was breathtaking. My husband was proposing a partner swap. Little did he know, my trip to Italy hadn't been for business. It had been my own act of rebellion, 3 days and nights of passionate forgetfulness with a man whose name I barely knew. For the first time, I'd tasted the sharp, sweet pleasure of revenge. Sure, I said, the word tasting like ash. The next evening, I chose a red dress, a color I never wore. Brad was surprised. I thought you hated bright colors. I'm tired of light ones, I replied. At a private room in a luxury club, the atmosphere was immediately tense. Priscilla was there, but she was uncharacteristically quiet beside her fiancé. And then I saw him. My blood ran cold. Jonathan, the man from Italy. He was in a meticulously tailored black suit, exuding an aura of cold refinement. Brad, oblivious, made the introductions. Jonathan, this is my wife, Maddie. Jonathan's voice was tight, a slight tremor in it. A pleasure to meet you, Maddie. I sat beside him, my heart hammering. We're all adults. We understand the situation. Halfway through dinner, emboldened by wine, Priscilla broke the silence. Jonathan, what do you think of Maddie? I told you she was beautiful but too thin. But you like pale, thin girls, don't you? Suddenly, a warm hand landed on my exposed knee. I shuddered, crushing my dessert. It was Jonathan. Under the white lace tablecloth, his fingers trailed up my inner thigh. I froze completely, then he spoke, his voice calm and clear. I'm sorry. I'm not interested in another man's wife. Brad looked surprised, then shrugged. Well, that's a shame. I tried to push his hand away, but Jonathan grabbed my wrist, his grip firm. I gasped. Jonathan held it gently for a moment, a silent, intimate communication before letting go. Later, Brad was called away on a sudden work emergency, leaving me with Jonathan and Priscilla. Priscilla promptly vanished to the restroom, leaving us alone. Instinct told me to flee. I grabbed my purse, but Jonathan caught my wrist. That dress is stunning on you, he said, his voice low. It was a random choice, I lied, my cheeks flushing. I had chosen it thinking of him, of his praise in Italy. He applied pressure, pulling me into his arms until I was perched on his lap. I tried to struggle, but his hold was firm. Hiding from me, he murmured. I took a deep breath. Jonathan, I'm sorry. If I'd known you had a fiancé, I never would have. And I knew Priscilla's fiancé was named Jonathan, but I didn't make the connection. I've caused you trouble. What trouble have you caused me? He asked, his tone indifferent, but his eyes were intense. You said you weren't interested in another man's wife. I was worried I was complicating things for you. Worrying now is a little late, don't you think? He didn't smile. And regarding Priscilla, you don't need to worry about causing me trouble. But Maddie, he stood up, his tall frame looming over me. I care because you're Brad's wife. He moved his fingers from my wrist to my jaw, making me shudder. I'm sorry, I stammered again, truly afraid of this powerful man I had deceived. What else do you have to say besides I'm sorry? He asked, pulling me close. He kissed me, softly at first, then with a demanding intensity that I found myself returning. We were on the verge of losing all control when he suddenly pushed me away, back into the chair. He calmly straightened his clothes. Let's go. I'll take you home. Brad didn't come home that night, or for the entire week that followed. There was no word from Jonathan either. Unbeknownst to me, Brad was standing in Jonathan's office, his face pale as a stack of photos showing him and Priscilla in compromising situations was laid out before him. Jonathan had systematically dismantled Brad's company in retaliation. Brad was ruined, and he knew it. When Brad finally returned, he looked hollow. He took my hand. Maddie, I've failed you these years. Let's get divorced. Don't worry, it won't affect your family or your interests. He seemed to be stating a decision, not asking for my opinion. I agreed. I was tired. The divorce was finalized in hours, the terms surprisingly favorable to me. Brad suggested one last dinner. I agreed, thinking it a final courtesy. I never expected to see Jonathan there, or for Brad to essentially hand me over like a peace offering. At the restaurant, the tension was unbearable. Brad excused himself, leaving me alone with Jonathan. The dam broke. I cried for the lost years, the humiliation, the shattered illusions. Jonathan didn't speak. He just patiently handed me tissues until my tears were spent. Go wash your face, he said gently. Then we'll eat something. While I was gone, Brad followed Jonathan. We're divorced now, Brad said. Remember your place. Jonathan's voice was ice. A man like you must have more than one woman, Brad mumbled. Once things calm down, I'll remarry Maddie. You won't have that opportunity, Jonathan stated firmly. Brad's eyes widened in horror as the pieces clicked into place. You set a trap for me. You used your own fiancé as a pawn. Jonathan looked at him with pure contempt. You're even dumber than I thought. How could a woman like Priscilla be my fiancé? She's an artist signed to one of my companies. Our arrangement is strictly business. Aren't you afraid I'll tell Maddie everything? Brad threatened. Go ahead, Jonathan said calmly. If you want everyone to admire your bedroom skills, tell her everything. When I returned, Jonathan suggested, why don't you come to Italy with me for a while? Consider it an escape. I was wary. Now that I know you have a fiancé, Priscilla and I have nothing between us, he said seriously, taking my hand. He rubbed the faint mark on my ring finger. His own left hand was bare. She provides a useful distraction from other women my family pushes my way. That's all. He looked me in the eye. Is there anything else you want to ask? I thought of the photos that had ruined Brad. Was Brad's situation with Priscilla under your direction? He didn't flinch. They met on their own. I was in Italy with you, if you recall. Why would I orchestrate that? He was right. Brad's downfall was his own doing. How long would we go? I asked. As long as you want. What about Christmas? We'll spend it in Italy. There's a festival. It's better than staying here, dealing with our families. I took a deep breath. I had nothing left to lose. All right, that night at his apartment, the past and the present collided. The first time had been passionate but fraught with secrets. This time, it was different. He was patient, tender, as if memorizing me. "You need to gain a little weight," he whispered, his hands tracing the line of my spine. "I remember you almost fainting in Italy from not eating." Later, as I lay drowsily against his chest, a final thread of fear made me speak. "Jonathan, if you want to end this, promise you'll tell me in advance." I didn't hear his answer. I was already asleep. Before we left for Italy, I had dinner with my best friend, April. She noticed the change immediately. "You seem different, Maddie. Softer, happier. I never saw that when you were with Brad." "I think I am," I said. And for the first time, I believed it. Jonathan arrived to pick me up, and April watched him through the window. "Not bad at all," she joked. On a glittering cruise ship under the Italian sky, during a party with fireworks, everything came full circle. A dance performance began, and to my surprise, the dancers pulled me on stage. For a few minutes, I wasn't Maddie, the betrayed wife, or the reluctant mistress. I was just a dancer again. After the dance, the music softened. Jonathan, breathtaking in formal wear, walked toward me with a bouquet of roses. He got down on one knee. Surrounded by applause, I was gently pushed forward. In a daze, I let him slide a ring onto my finger. "Maddie," he said, offering his left hand, "can you help me with mine?" I looked at him, at the man who had dismantled my old life and offered me a new one. Tears streamed down my face, but they were tears of release. "I'll trust you once," I whispered, sliding the ring onto his finger. But only once. He stood and held me tightly. "Maddie, I'll prove it to you for a lifetime."
We married in the spring. I heard Brad eventually fled the country, his life and fortune completely destroyed by the consequences of his own actions. I never told Maddie the full extent of my role. Our happiness was a new thing, and I wouldn't let his shadow touch it. I only have one regret, that I met her so late. The first time I saw her, she was 14, riding a bicycle in a white dress, holding a melting ice cream cone. She swerved, crashing into my car. She was crying, her knee scraped and bloody. I took her to a clinic, my shirt stained with her ice cream. She was flustered, apologetic, and utterly captivating. Her friend came and whisked her away to a dance lesson. I thought I'd see her again soon. But the next day, my life was appended. My biological father, a powerful man in Italy, claimed me. His heir had died. I was his only son now. My mother and I were whisked away to a new life of duty and power. I never forgot the girl with the ice cream, but I assumed she was just a memory. Years later, in a hotel bar in Italy, I saw her again, the same quiet grace, now tinged with a deep sadness. She didn't recognize me. When she approached me, it was for her own reasons, her own revenge. But for me, it was a second chance I never thought I'd get. I knew she was married. I knew it was wrong. But as I held her that first night, listening to her quiet tears, I made a decision. I would dismantle the life that hurt her and build a new one for us, step by step. I would love only her for the rest of my life. She changed into her wedding dress, and my breath caught. She looked just as she had all those years ago, a vision in white. I walked toward my wife, finally ready to never let go.
If this story stirred your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a dose of love dopamine. I'll keep bringing you more tales of passion, heartbreak, and redemption crafted for the ones who still believe in love. And if you stayed until the very end, thank you. You're the kind of soul who believes in love, even when it hurts. Love harder, dream deeper. Until the next heartbeat.